Season 1 was about transformation, realizing you can love your life and break free from stories that held you back. Now, in Season 2, we're stepping in a new frequency. What transformation looks like in real life. The messy middle. The real, raw conversations. If you're ready to live your truth, let's talk. This is Jessica Javens Talk. This is Jessica Javens Talk. I'm here in Indiana talking to this gorgeous, gorgeous professional in Florida that I met through an association of entrepreneur women. That association is so powerful. It's so important to have the right kind of people around you because not only you get to know amazing people, you see doors opening, connections and blocks just building. And here we are today in your phone or in your living room, wherever you're at, and you're watching us. And I can't wait for you to get to know this guest. By the way, make sure you watch the whole thing and that you share this with everybody because that way you can also make a difference in somebody else's life. I would like to welcome Caroline Ashley. Thank you so much, Carol, for coming to our show today.
Thank you for having me. It's an honor.
Thank you so much. You know, Carol has been through so much in her life. I will just let you know that she is an inspiration for a lot of women because despite so many challenges, she is now the founder of Ashley Aesthetics Clinic, which is located in Massachusetts and Florida. But she is now also virtually offering so many services all around. So, regardless of where you're listening, you can access her and reach out to her and benefit from what she has to offer. She's been a very, very much dedicated woman in this. So, let's start opening up this part. So, Ashley, tell us a little bit about you. What is the difference between maybe you and maybe another woman who has a spa or a med spa now, right? So, you have both. So, tell us a little bit about that.
The difference with Ashley's Aesthetics and other medical spas is that we have concentrated 100% on having a 360 team. So a multidisciplinary team so that we can take care of you in all the areas of your life. So we're not only taking care of people aesthetically, but we're also taking care of their health, their mental health, and so on.
I love that. That's awesome. That's what a lot of people need. And they don't know where to go really because today, sometimes they just get these little micro tips online or different things that they do here and there. They're not sure where to invest or if it's worth it to invest, right? So, what do you recommend to women that are insecure like that for them to know how to see what is the best place for them to go that they can actually trust and invest their money in, such as your business?
Yeah, so I always I joke around like choose the place where they tell you no. Because that they're actually looking for your like your good the best interest for the patient because you'll see a lot of people that they're just in it basically for the money. They just want to sell and upsell the client, but they're not looking for that patient's best interest. So when you find someone that is actually dedicated to what they do, they'll be very comfortable to be, you know what, this is not the moment for you to do this procedure. This is not the moment for you because maybe you're going through things. There's a lot of women that sometimes are going through something at home. They want to get something done, but it's not the moment emotionally or mentally.
That brings a lot of comfort. I'm sure. Um, Tell us a little bit, maybe about an experience of a patient of yours that you can think of right now that maybe was in a situation like that, that they were not sure. They had that eagerness, they want to maybe lose weight. We have so much pressure as women to be beautiful, to be fit, right? And then at the same time, you realize that maybe that was not the time. So, how did you set that up, set that patient out for success?
So it happens all the time. Women sometimes are going through a lot of different situations, but I guess we can use one where that really touched me when I had this patient in the clinic where she found out she was being cheated on. So she was comparing herself with someone else. And she wanted to get a bunch of procedures done, wanted to change the way her body looks. And I had to sit down with her and talk to her and be like, this is not the moment because anything you do now maybe in 2 months, 3 months, you're not going to be happy with it just because you're not in the mental state to make any decisions of changes physically right now at the moment. So, what we did is we started doing counseling with her. We offer counseling. We have psychologists on our telemedicine platform and everything. And I referred her to the correct professionals for her to be able to get that help first. Once that time that we see that if she's still ready for it to get a procedure done, but then she got the help that she needed, then great, we can go forward. But if not, sometimes in 2, 3 months, the person's like, oh my God, what was I going to do? You know?
Wow.
So,
That's amazing because the
yeah,
amount of money and time, and then some of those changes, maybe that it's irreversible. I'm thinking that's crazy. A person, if they're not in the right mental state, it's so important that the person, when they're making big decisions like that, that they're mentally ready for it first. And if not, to
exactly.
step back and wait to take care of things in the right order. So that's awesome. Now, how did your path. I want to touch on you now because on this season, I really want to go deeper, bolder, and more intimate. Okay, so I want you to be able to share with us, which I know that you're open with, and we had many conversations about that, which I fell in love with your story of how you came out of it. Tell us a little bit of how it started. What were your challenges when you were young, and how did you work through all of that? And you're this beautiful, gorgeous person inside out today and successful. Tell us about that.
Oh, so many. Went through so much at a young age. But yeah, I guess my first real difficulty where me and you were both multicultural. So both American but with Brazilian parents. And I guess the first real difficulty for me in life in general was I had to deal with moving to Brazil, dealing with that because my parents had to go. And then coming back by myself at a really young age, at 17,
Wow.
to finish school, because in Brazil, school's just so different, the culture is different, and having to really go become an adult at such a young age.
And your
So some
parents were still in Brazil when you came at 17.
still in Brazil. Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah. So
That's
that was a real life-changing experience. And it really molded me, I guess, into the strong character that I am today. Um, and also, just having to deal with things that sometimes you wouldn't have to deal with. Like in my case, my parents were immigrants that lived here in the US for 20 years, had their kids, had to move back to Brazil. And then me as an American child coming back, but at the same time living the experience of what a lot of immigrants go through. So it was hard, and I moved around a lot. I grew up down in Atlanta, but it helped me to become really strong, and having to work and go to school and make a living at the same time. It was a real lot of responsibility, but it was definitely it was like a scary moment at that age, but now that I
yeah,
look back, it's like it now I understand why I can go through so much and really deal with, I guess, pain a lot easier.
absolutely. It made you stronger and experience in that sense. It's interesting for me. I always had the family united and a sense of community. I always had that close. And for me to see a person just moving from one country or one state to another all by themselves, for me, that's such a bold move. And I see that a little bit more here in the American culture, but a lot of Europeans and South American cultures, you don't see that. Maybe because it's not as maybe cost effective or whatever it is, but the unity is really so strong that you leaving that environment and going to a completely new with all strangers and building that up from scratch is pretty scary. It's even scary for me today as a grown up because I had that growing up, with my family. I never had to be without them for a long period of time like you did. So And I know that you moved to Massachusetts, and then you didn't know anybody, and then you moved to Florida, you didn't know anybody, and then you have to like start from scratch all over again. So
Yeah.
how has that been for you? Like, how were you able to create meaningful connections and made you feel the way that we want to feel, especially as women? We want to feel connected, we want to feel loved, we want to feel belonging, we want to feel accepted. So how did you make that happen in your life?
I was very lucky in the sense of finding the people that did come on my path. Um, I feel that we we are always vibrating something. Everything is frequency, energy. So I feel what the energy that you're putting into, you're gonna attract. So and just it's funny to think about because I really jumped into the unknown twice. So when I came back from Brazil, it was the unknown, and then when I decided to move from Massachusetts to Florida last year, it was also again that same path, the unknown, not knowing anyone, not having like friends down here, just like knowing like there's something that like was planted into my heart and knowing I have to go. So and listening to that voice. And since I had already been through that once, it's funny when you just trust the universe, when you just have a this sense of the universe is always going to bring what I need to me, things just flow and it just comes to you. So I have had the experience where sometimes I didn't know what I was going to do that month. I didn't know how I was going to do it, how it was going to happen. And then all of a sudden through someone that I met at an event or something would come and be like, "Hey, I have this," and it was exactly what I needed.
That's amazing. Now, a lot of people want to have that right there, what you just said. How did you come to believe, feed, and breathe the vibration that you said that you try to stay on because that attracts the vibration? And I believe that too. And how do you believe and feed your belief that the universe is working in your favor?
So, first off, you need to let go of the remote control of your life. And that's the hardest thing to do. I had a lot of issues with that. I've always been a person that wants to have control over everything. And for you to learn how to let go, I think is like the first step. Just know that you if you want to go after something, throw it to the universe and let it go. And just
Wow.
and it's having that trust that it's going to come to you. Um I've learned that the universe never lets me down. When I need something, I don't know how it's gonna happen, where it's gonna happen, if it's gonna be with through someone, if it's gonna be through, I don't know, an object or something, but I just know that it's gonna come through.
Do you look for it? Like you're saying, I threw this to the universe and I have that trust in me, and that trust feels at least for me, it feels like peace, right? Because when you're in
Yes.
control and you want to have control, you don't have peace, right?
No. Yeah.
Okay. But are you intentionally looking or waiting for the answer when you let that ball go to the universe for it to resolve it? Do you actually look for it or you don't? It just comes to you and you actually realize it at that point. Or maybe later, you don't realize it's happening at that moment. Maybe later you look back, oh my gosh, that was the answer. So tell
Yeah.
me, how does it work for you?
So in my case, like what I did is like I knew that I needed to come, an example, I needed to come to Florida
Yeah.
and I needed to get this done here. Um I came, I did my part. So it's you work on your part and the universe does its part. So if you are consistent and you are disciplined and you have a vision, you know where you want to go and you know what you want to get done, you do your part and let the rest to the universe and it'll come. because the universe will present what you need to those who are consistent and disciplined.
That's perfect. That makes it more easy for our listeners to understand how it works.
Yeah.
Now, a lot of people are not loving life the way that they should. And there's many different reasons for that. It varies. And I know for a fact that you are a very, very busy woman, very busy. But you're always showing up, f- feeling good, smiling, and I know that you take care of you. You don't let that go. You don't say, well, I have to do this and this and this. I can't exercise, or I can't eat healthy, or I can't this. You never. You're very disciplined. So tell me, how are you able to manage being so busy, having multiple companies and partners and all this going on, which is a lot, and at the same time be making sure that you're putting yourself first?
So I have a principle that the most important person in the world is me. So it's always going to be first me, then the next. There's even a Bible verse that it says you have to love yourself. You have to love the next person as you love yourself. If I don't love myself, how am I going to love the next person?
Yeah, the second principle, the second command, and the most important one after loving God. I
Yeah.
love it.
Yeah, so I have to love myself. And our bodies are a temple, and we only have one body and one life. So how do I want to live that life? So for me, my mornings are sacred, for me to have my me time, for me to do my exercise, for me to meditate, for me to do a reading, a devotional, anything that I'm doing right there and then at that time. And I will not open that time for anything else, because it you can go after so many things in life. You can go after money, you can go after, success, and want to be known. But if you are not well on the inside, everything on the outside is just going to reflect how you are. So you need to be well, you need to be happy, you need to, like, invest in yourself first, so that life can flow, in peace.
And I'm glad that you said that, because very easily, if you're spending maybe 1 or 2 hours a day on yourself, completely unplugged, right, from your phone, from calls, from your family members, and that's your me time, many times it might feel like you're wasting that time that you could have been accomplishing other tasks that are waiting, or things that are past due, whatever pressure that you have on the other side, right? People that are screaming for your attention, or you know what I'm
Yeah,
saying. And it requires you to have that consciousness that that's the most important thing, because if not, it's very easy to crumble, because nobody's pressuring you for taking care of you. It is your own responsibility and intention and notion of it. And at the same time, if you're not doing that, and this is my experience too, Carol, is that the other things are not accomplished in the best way possible. So
exactly.
although I have maybe 2 hours less today because I spent 2 hours on myself, the other things don't flow as the best way that they could, because I am not feeling my best. Have you
Yeah.
experienced that? Like the days that you maybe skipped that, and the days that you did it, and how the day flowed afterwards?
No, yeah, definitely. Especially when you talk about exercising, it just helps you, like, so many ways mentally. Sometimes, like, I don't know, when I'm doing a run, it just helps me to, like, organize things that I'm thinking about in my mind in a way that sometimes, so if I was sitting down in the morning and didn't go do that, I wouldn't be able to organize that path that I needed.
I love that. That's exactly what happened with your body. It works better. I love it. How many people today, with all your clientele that you help, that are men? Do you know? Because I'm
So
thinking women, women,
yeah,
women, but I'm thinking,
it's
but maybe you have men too.
We do have men. It's a lower percentage, but it is growing. You know, men are evolving as well and taking care of themselves, thankfully. It's like 20 to 30% margin of men. The rest are all female.
Interesting. And what is the number, maybe one and two reasons mainly why they come to your clinic?
Um, for men, usually they don't like they've come to a point where they just don't feel good with the way that they look. Um, so like self-esteem wise, and then also, just trying to get that youthfulness back.
That's the case for men, right? What about women?
Women, it's self-esteem. They want to look good. Sometimes they're comparing themselves with social media. That's been a huge thing in the aesthetics world, where the world is putting, a on like this is how you have to look, and then everyone's like, oh, I need to do this, I need to do that, and comparing themselves with other people. And that's a whole nother story because I feel like a lot of women, unfortunately, they're all looking like cookie cutters. They're all looking like each other because they're all getting the same procedures done the same way, and it's taking their authenticity away from women. But women, there's a there's a whole list of why they come. Sometimes it's like, um, I've had patients come in with like trauma, and they physical trauma, and they want to fix that's happened to them. And it's just a lot of reasons.
Wow. You were just talking about a cookie cutter. I was actually listening to something yesterday about that and how this trend has become, kind of dangerous because sometimes the person gets to a point where they don't stop. Um, do you feel that a lot of people then are coming to you because of a trend? It's a maybe what's in right now. Like for instance, what's it called? Facial. Um, Forgot the word. Where people change a little bit the shape of their face. What's it called?
So like fillers. Yeah.
Yes, they put things to
So
change
like
a little bit. Yeah,
facial harmonization.
harmonization. Yes. Do you think that's a trend, like that's coming, and maybe it's going to go away? You're in that world right now where people are doing so many different things, and it's accessible. There's some new techniques out there. What is your take in that?
My take on that is always to go to the most natural route. I always tell patients, don't change who you are. And there's no one else in the world that was born like you or that looks like you. So why do you want to look like someone else? You
I
can
love.
always accentuate someone's beauty of what they already have. But I personally don't believe that there is a necessity of, actually changing someone's identity. Um, I have nothing against whoever, wants to go that route, and, wants to, maybe they really don't like the way they look, and that's okay. But I always believe in maintaining someone's identity and working that on that in that woman or man, and be like, hey, no one else looks like you. No one else is going to be you. So, like really embrace that and know that there's only one of you.
Yeah, a lot of self love there and developing that. Yeah, very, very important. What made you choose this career? How did it happen for you?
Funny story. So years back, I had gotten married, and at that time I had a sister-in-law that she was a hairdresser, and she really wanted to open her own establishment, but she didn't know how, and like with the licenses and all that. So I told her I was going to help her out, and that we would be able to see of the possibility of maybe opening a business together. So I started going to school. I started looking into like cosmetology, aesthetics, and all this stuff. And through that process of helping her to open a business, I fell in love with the process and I fell in love with like studying the whole like skin anatomy part. And so I dived deep into it. And that's when I really found myself and the
Wow.
industry that I wanted to work in. Yeah.
Wow. So before that, were you looking into something else? Were you working with something else or studying for something else?
I was actually working in the money market business for almost like 5, 6 years.
Wow.
So
Do you miss
financial
it?
side, completely different.
Do you miss it?
No,
No, that was a very firm no.
no. I was on Excel the entire day inside an office. Very thankful for the people that, I worked for. They taught me everything and it's an amazing industry, but I'd like to connect with people rather than being with numbers all day.
Yes, absolutely. I connected with people too when I was in financing in that industry for about 18 years. But it still was not something that it was allowing me to be and to give everything that I had. And now I feel like I'm able to be my authentic self and to use
Yeah,
all my full potential and creativity, which I absolutely love. And I think that you shine that out of you. That's what I see in you too with what you do.
thank
And
you.
you can see that with the results of the growth and how much you've been accomplishing with your business, which is awesome. So tell us a little bit about the medical aspect of it and how you were able to find a way to make it accessible and affordable for everybody in the United States, right?
Yeah, yeah.
Okay, tell
So
us.
we started last year our project with Ashley's Doctors, which is our telemedicine platform. Um, we started with immigrant focused marketing to make it accessible, to Spanish speaking and also Portuguese speaking patients. Sometimes, they go through a rough patch and sometimes they don't have access depending on their work schedule and, not being able to actually go to a physical place. So we found a way to, bring access to them and also bring professionals that speak their language.
That's great.
So we started with that and it's been a huge success and it's very accessible. They pay only $29 a month and they have access 24/7 to a doctor.
That's
And
great.
we also have over 23 specialties on our platform. So if they need to speak to a psychiatrist, cardiologist, we have everything right there.
That's awesome. You mentioned earlier you offer also through that platform therapy, like a psychologist. Is it like an ongoing therapy or is it just a consultation kind of to help with pre-treatments that you do there at the clinic?
No, so they can do ongoing, like accompanied by a psychologist for as long as they want, honestly. So we have the professionals there, and you can have your doctor, and you schedule with that specialist that date and time, and you'll have your therapy session.
That's awesome. That's very cool. So how does it work? Do they have to go through your clinic first, or do you have like a separate website? How do they enroll in that medical program or access it?
So you just go to our app or to our website, and you basically just put in your email, date of birth, name, and then you complete the payment online, and then you're active. You can get an appointment right there and then. So it's
Oh
really
my
quick,
God,
really easy, and you don't have to wait in a huge line.
that's great. That's great. And again, this is for people. This $29 or whatever is for people who they don't have to enter any insurance information, right?
No, no, you don't have to enter any insurance information. And if you do have insurance, um, The insurances will accept once we send the prescriptions to your local pharmacy. Your insurance will still cover your medication if you have insurance.
Understood. That's very cool. Now, Carol, there's going to be, different people listening to this podcast. Hopefully, a lot of women that can come to you and listen to this and benefit from it. Let's think about, I would like you to share this, maybe two things that you feel that is very important for the women who are listening to us right now to take away from this so they can start improving and loving their lives. What are the two things that you can think of?
First step is start taking some time for yourself and don't feel like you're being um, selfish. Because
Yes,
sometimes we think that we're being selfish of taking time for ourselves,
totally.
especially moms. And no, you're not being selfish. You are the most important person, and you have to be well to be able to take care of others. So it's always you first, and then you'll be able to accomplish what you need to accomplish throughout your day. Um, and another thing is just knowing, difficult times come, but they pass. Everything passes. So it's temporary. So don't give up. Be disciplined, consistent, and just keep going.
I love those. Those are very, very, very important things. And it's funny because even though we are in that kind of business, we ourselves, because of our little imperfections, sometimes forget that in the down moments. But we realize that, and we have to believe that when there is the difficulties or there is the challenges or you're feeling down, which is human, that it will pass as long as you're consistent with the things that you know are going to help you. So all of the different things of eating healthy, moving, right, making sure that you're feeding yourself and you are around people that are pulling you, right? Like how many people did you meet
Exactly.
that you attracted to your life because you were feeding in that high vibration? So all of those are very important that they are consistent so you can continue regardless of the situations around you that you cannot control. Things will work out eventually. This was very, very nice. Is there anything that you're doing next that you would like us to know about? That you're maybe a project or something that's going to come out? Because this episode is going to come out probably around fall. So fall,
Okay.
yeah, we're in summer right now, hot summer. I have the AC on here. I'm sure you do too in Florida. So tell me, what is next? What is something that you're looking forward to share with the rest of the world?
So we have a few next projects going on. We are starting also with our Ashley's Academy, so with people that are looking for mentoring and also even professionals in the medical side that want to learn more. We are working on that, and we also are having our hormonal replacement project coming out pretty
Ooh,
soon.
that
So
is
that's our
exciting.
next one.
I can't wait to hear about that one. I'm very excited. By the way, I need to schedule an appointment for my mom at your clinic because I want her to do that full assessment because she's not sure which vitamin she should take and what she's, stuff like that. And you have that full assessment. I don't remember the
Yes.
name. What's the name of that?
So it's a bioresonance
There you go.
machine, and it goes through your basically your energy. It's great technology, and it's able to read your entire body and see, like what you need for vitamins and even health wise if there's any
Love it.
conditions.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I promised her I would take her there. And as soon as I'm back from Indianapolis, I'm going to do that. Take her there
Yes.
and we can see each other again.
Yes, it will be
Okay.
a pleasure.
You so much. It was such a pleasure to have you here.
Thank
You're
you.
awesome. You're inspirational. Carol had we were in a woman's event and she recently did a presentation that was so, so good. Everybody was so amazed with her. And I love it because people then can connect you to your mission and your company, which everything comes together so beautifully. So that you have to keep talking and sharing that is very important to
Thank
bring
you.
awareness. So thank you. So here we are in season 2. This is Caroline Ashley. She is an amazing woman. Make sure that you are sharing this with all the women that you know, because if you're not, then they're missing out. So this is one little small thing that you can do, and you can reach Caroline in Instagram, on all media platforms, and on her website as well. We want to make sure that you follow her. She has little tips and different things there. And of course, she's gorgeous. You're going to love to see her pictures. Uh, so, this is Jessica Javens Talk, Season 2. This show is produced by the I Am Beast Network and Andre Creighton. Andre the Beast Creighton, and brought by Forever Living, the best aloe vera juice in the world that helped my wellness, and my brother's new bar in Fort Lauderdale, Wine Bar. If you didn't know, he's a sommelier, Carol. And the bar was just opened and it's booming. It's called Through the Vine in Fort Lauderdale.
Wow.
Yes. So this is Jessica Javens, and I see you on the next show.